The battlefield was quiet now, but it was not the quiet of peace. It was the heavy silence that comes after destruction. Ships floated broken in the black of space, their burning remains glowing like dying stars. Survivors whispered on comms, their voices full of fear. The alien defenders knew they could not last much longer. "We cannot hold them," one captain cried, his voice shaking. "Our weapons are weak. Our shields are broken. They will destroy us all." His crew listened, but no one answered, because they all knew the truth. The enemy was stronger and faster. They had no hope left. Across the battlefield, the attackers pushed forward, their ships sharp and cold. Their commanders laughed with confidence. "Finish them, burn their last fleet, let no one escape." Orders spread quickly. Weapons charged, the defenders closed their eyes, expecting the final strike. But then something strange happened. The scanners lit up with a signal. A new reading appeared far at the edge of the battlefield. One of the defenders gasped, "Another fleet." His voice was small. "Who is coming now?" The enemy commanders frowned. Their screens showed the same signal, large, growing, impossible to measure. "What is it?" one alien soldier asked nervously. "A trap!" The commander shook his head. "No trap, no ship is that big. This reading makes no sense." Still the signal grew. Heavy, pulsing like a heartbeat. Closer and closer it came, until even the stars seemed to bend. Defenders who had lost hope lifted their heads, their eyes wide with both fear and wonder. "Could it be help?" whispered a young pilot. "Could someone finally answer us?" But the older officers shook their heads. "No one would come for us. Not now." Their words were cold, but their hearts trembled. The attackers slowed their advance, their victory almost complete. But now their voices were uneasy. "Why do I feel afraid?" one asked. "We are the strong ones, yet my hands shake." His commander shouted at him. "Hold your post, it's nothing." But deep down, he felt the same fear. Every alien in the fleet watched the same growing shadow. Too large, too silent, too unknown. The battlefield froze, as if the universe itself waited to see what would come. Then the shadow became clearer. First a line of metal, then the curve of armor, then the shape of something vast, a warship unlike any they had ever seen. "Impossible," one attacker whispered. "It cannot be real. No one builds ships like that." The defenders stared, hope and terror mixing inside them. "It's human," someone finally said. The word hit them like thunder. "Human," the attackers repeated, but their voices cracked. Everyone in the galaxy knew the word Deathworlders, creatures who came from a planet so harsh that even monsters feared it. Creatures who survived everything, who built weapons that could break stars. But no one had seen them for years. Some believed humans were myths. Others thought they had destroyed themselves. But now, before their eyes, a human warship emerged from the void. It did not rush, it did not fire. It only floated forward, massive and silent. Yet its presence crushed every soul watching. "Why does it not speak?" asked a defender. "Why does it not move faster?" A captain whispered back, "Because it does not need to. It is already in control." Their voices fell silent. The attackers panicked. Some tried to retreat. Their engines roared, but their ships barely moved. "We cannot escape," one screamed. "Something holds us here," their commander shouted back. "Fight, fight now." But his voice broke halfway. Inside the human warship, unseen by alien eyes, lights glowed and engines hummed, but no words came. The silence was worse than any threat. Suddenly energy rippled across space. Alien weapons shut down. Their targeting failed. Their shields collapsed. One by one, their systems died as if invisible hands ripped them apart. "Our weapons are dead," screamed an attacker. "Shields are gone," another cried. Panic spread like fire. The defenders too felt the same force. But strangely, their ships were not destroyed. Their systems flickered but stayed alive. "This is no rescue," one defender said slowly. "This is judgment." His crew looked at him with wide eyes. "Why us?" he whispered, but no answer came outside. Beams of light cut through the void, not striking ships, but carving space itself, showing power far beyond alien science. The warship wanted them to see. It wanted them to understand. "Send a message," an alien commander ordered. "Call for more fleets. Call for help." But his officers shook their heads. No signals leave. The field blocks everything. The commander stared at the massive ship. His pride burned to ashes. Then this is the end, he whispered. The attackers, who had been so sure of victory, were now trapped like prey. The defenders, who had been seconds from death, now felt the strange chill of survival. One young pilot whispered, "Why are we alive? Why do they not destroy us too?" His captain could only shake his head. "Maybe they want us to watch." Then finally, after endless silence, a voice came, deep, calm, and human. It cut across every channel, every ship, every soul. "This battle is over." Only 5 words, but they struck harder than any weapon. The attackers fell silent, frozen in terror. The defenders bowed their heads, unsure if they were saved or conquered. The giant warship loomed in the dark, its shadow covering them all. In that moment, the galaxy changed, for everyone understood the truth. Humanity had returned, and nothing would ever be the same again. The massive human warship hung in the void like a shadow of doom, its size so great that even the stars seemed dim around it. The alien fleets stared at it in disbelief, their screens flashing warnings that made no sense. Numbers climbed higher than their systems could measure, and every soldier felt the same cold fear in their chest. "It is not real," one attacker whispered, his claws trembling over the controls. "It must be a trick," but his commander barked back, "Does that look like a trick to you?" His voice was hard, but his eyes betrayed him. He too felt the terror no words could hide. The defenders, broken and scattered, could only watch, hope and dread mixing in their hearts. One young pilot whispered, "We are saved," but his captain snapped, "Quiet, do not be foolish. We do not know what it wants." The silence stretched. The human ship still did not move. It only floated closer, each second like the beat of a drum. The attackers hesitated, weapons ready but useless, their courage fading with every heartbeat. "Why do they not strike?" Another alien muttered, "Why do they just watch us?" His commander answered in a low tone, "Because they want us to suffer. Because fear is a weapon." Then the warship spoke again, its voice calm and heavy. "You are finished." Those 3 words echoed across every channel. The attackers panicked. One fleet tried to rush forward, their ships moving in formation, but before they could fire, a pulse of light burst from the warship. No explosion, no blast, just a ripple that passed through space like a wave on water. When it hit the alien fleet, their ships froze in place. Engines dead, weapons locked, crews screaming as their controls turned to stone. "We cannot move," one soldier cried. "We are trapped." The commander slammed his fist against the console. "This is impossible. Nothing can do this." Yet the warship had done it with a single thought. The defenders gasped as they watched. How can such power exist? One whispered, "Are the legends true?" Another answered, "They say humans come from the death world, a place where storms tear mountains apart and beasts eat metal. Maybe that world forged them into monsters." The captain shook his head. "Monsters or saviors, I do not know, but this is not rescue. This is control." The attackers begged their leaders for answers. "Command us!" one pilot shouted. "What do we do?" But their commanders had no plan, no orders, only fear. "Hold," one said weakly. "Hold and wait." But his voice shook so badly that even his crew turned pale. Their pride gone. Suddenly, the warship's weapons came alive. Not with fire, but with silence. Beams of pure light spread across the void, not striking the ships but carving through the battlefield, slicing broken wreckage into dust, turning asteroids into gas. It was not an attack, it was a demonstration. "They are showing us," one alien gasped. "They are showing us what they can do." Another covered his face. "They want us to kneel." The defenders, still half broken, whispered among themselves. "Should we call out? Should we thank them?" One young officer asked, his voice small. "No," the captain said firmly. "Do not speak, do not draw their eyes. We are alive because they allow it." He paused, his words heavy. "And that may change." The attackers tried once more to resist. A desperate fleet pushed engines to the limit, forcing their way through the invisible grip. "Break free," their leader roared. "We are not slaves. We are warriors." But as they reached the edge of the battlefield, A new sound cut across space, a deep roar like thunder. The warship's front opened, revealing weapons no alien mind could understand. Spheres of black energy spun in silence, and then with one slow release, the edge of the fleeing fleet was erased. Not destroyed, not shattered, erased as if it had never existed. "No!" one soldier screamed. "This is not war. This is death itself." His commander stared at the void where dozens of ships had been seconds before, his hands shaking. "Retreat, retreat now!" But retreat was no longer possible. The warship's presence bound them tighter than chains. For the first time, the defenders saw the attackers tremble. The same creatures who had burned their homes, who had crushed their families, now wept in fear. One defender whispered, "Maybe this is justice," but another answered, "Justice or not, the galaxy will not survive this power." Their words were heavy, for everyone knew it was true. Then the human voice returned, colder this time. "You will remember, no more, just those words." But they cut deeper than any blade. The attackers dropped their weapons. Entire fleets surrendered without orders, their pride broken, their courage gone. The defenders looked at each other in shock. The war was over, not by their strength, not by their sacrifice, but because something greater had walked into the battlefield and declared it so. As the warship turned slowly, its engines glowing like suns, the stars seemed to bend around it. Every eye followed, breath held, hearts racing. The attackers dared not move. The defenders dared not cheer. It left as silently as it came, drifting back into the void, leaving behind only silence and fear. But the galaxy would never forget, commanders whispered to each other. "Humanity has returned," soldiers trembled. Deathworlders live still across the fleets. Both enemy and ally, the same thought burned. If one ship could do this, what would happen when more arrived? The universe had seen the shadow of human power, and it would never be the same. The battlefield was quiet after the human warship vanished into the void. But it was not peace. It was the silence of fear. Wreckage floated between stars. Fleets that had once fought now drifted helplessly. Every alien soldier sat frozen, their minds trying to understand what they had just witnessed. "It is gone," one defender whispered, his voice barely a breath. "Yes, but its shadow still covers us," his captain replied. The enemy commanders, once proud and cruel, now whispered like frightened children. How can one ship destroy a fleet without firing? How can one voice break armies? They had no answers, only terror. In the enemy flagship, the high commander sat trembling, his claws digging into the armrest. His officers looked at him with pale faces. "What do we tell the Empire?" One asked softly. "If we say humans have returned, we will be punished. They will not believe us." The commander shook his head slowly. "They will believe, because fear travels faster than light. The galaxy will hear of this, even if we stay silent." His words made the room colder. The defenders gathered their wounded ships, engines weak, hulls broken. Yet their eyes stared only at the stars. "Will it come back?" One pilot asked, her voice small. "If it wanted us dead, we would already be gone," the captain answered. "It left us alive for a reason." His crew leaned closer. "What reason?" He whispered, "To warn us, to remind us who truly rules." But whispers were not enough for the galaxy. Across hundreds of worlds, rumors spread like fire. Taverns echoed with voices saying the Deathworlders had returned. Markets buzzed with fear. Humans live, and they said, and they carry war in their hands. Rulers of empires argued in secret rooms. If it is true, everything changes. If one ship can bind 1,000 fleets, what will happen if they come in numbers? Some demanded preparation, others demanded silence. All were afraid. Back in the ruins of the battlefield, scavenger ships arrived, their crews searching the wrecks for scraps. But when they scanned the area, their systems glitched, their screens filled with strange signals left behind. One scavenger captain frowned. "This is not wreckage, this is a warning. They left something here." His crew panicked. "Should we run?" He shook his head. "We cannot escape what follows us now." Among the attackers, a desperate plan grew. Some commanders met in secret. "We cannot let humans rise again," one said firmly. If they return in full, no empire will survive. We must strike now before they gather power." Another shook his head. "Strike with what? Our fleets are dust, our courage broken. No weapon can touch them." Still, the first commander slammed the table. "We must try. We must find their world, destroy them before they destroy us." Silence filled the chamber. For they all knew the danger, but pride pushed them toward doom. The defenders too held meetings, their leaders asking the same question. "Do we trust them or fear them?" One old admiral said, "They saved us, yet they showed us no kindness, only power," another answered. "Yes, but power is sometimes mercy. Had it been anyone else, we would all be ash," the room argued. Hope and fear twisting together, until finally one voice said softly, "Perhaps they watch us now, listening, judging. Perhaps our choice has already been made." The words silenced all others. In the darkness of deep space, beyond the sight of both sides, the human warship floated silently. Not gone, only hidden. Its crew spoke in calm voices. "They saw enough," one officer said. "They will remember." Another replied, "They should, but memory fades, fear fades, what then?" The captain's voice came last, calm and unshaken. "Then we return again, until the galaxy understands." Meanwhile, across the stars, a young alien child listened to her father tell the tale. "A human ship came," he said, "and it held the stars in its hands." The child's eyes widened. "Will they come here?" she asked. The father looked to the night sky, fear and wonder mixing in his heart. "Maybe, little one, maybe one day." The galaxy trembled under whispers. Empires argued, defenders prayed, attackers plotted. Yet none could escape the same truth. Humanity had revealed its shadow. A single ship had bent the will of thousands, and no one knew when or where they would see that shadow again. And in that endless silence, every heart asked the same question. Not if, but when. The galaxy did not sleep after the human warship appeared. Every empire and every ruler spoke in whispers. Fear spread faster than light, and yet with fear came greed. In hidden chambers, the alien warlords gathered, their faces pale but their voices sharp. "We cannot allow humans to rise again," one declared, slamming his fist against the table. "If a single ship can end fleets, imagine what happens when they return in numbers." Another leaned forward, eyes glowing with anger. "We must strike first. We must hunt their world and burn it before they bring war to us." Silence followed. Some nodded, others trembled. "But how do we find them?" A general asked. "For centuries they vanished, no trace, no star map. How can we fight shadows?" The first answered with a thin smile. "We search, and when we find them, we unite against them, because if we do not, none of us will survive." Meanwhile, the defenders who had been saved by the warship found themselves split. Their council sat in heavy silence. "Humans spared us," one elder said, "but they did not come as allies. They came as masters." Another shook his head. "No, perhaps they only wished to warn us, to show us the cost of war. Maybe their strength means peace." The room argued for hours, until a young officer spoke, her voice shaking. "What if peace is not their goal? What if this was only the beginning?" The council grew quiet, because deep down they all wondered the same. Across the galaxy, traders and smugglers carried stories. In every port the same tale was told. A warship came, bigger than worlds, and it erased fleets without a fight. Children cried when they heard. Rulers panicked when their soldiers repeated the legend. And priests prayed to old gods that humanity would not look their way. Yet among the frightened there were also those who dreamed. "If we find them first," one smuggler whispered to his crew, "we could sell their secrets, their weapons, their ships. Imagine the riches." Greed grew in the dark corners where fear could not reach. In one empire, a secret project began deep under the oceans of a black world. Scientists worked night and day. Their leader hissed at them. "We will not wait to be conquered, build something stronger, something that can stand against them." But his scientists only shook their heads. "How can we build against what we cannot understand?" One whispered, "Our weapons cannot touch what we saw." The leader growled, "Then steal from them, capture them, take their knowledge." His voice echoed with desperation. At the same time, hidden among the ruins of the last battlefield, scavenger crews searched carefully, their ships creeping through broken wreckage. One crew found strange markings carved into drifting debris, symbols glowing faintly as if written by fire. The captain leaned closer to the screen, his voice low. "This is human." His crew froze. "What does it mean?" He shook his head. "A warning, maybe a message, but we cannot read it." Fear filled the cabin, but greed pushed him forward. "Take it, we will sell it. Someone will pay to know what it says." They did not know that even touching the symbols sent a signal into the void, a signal the humans were already watching. The attackers who had lost everything began to plot revenge. In secret halls their generals screamed in anger, "We will not kneel, we will not crawl. Humanity will pay." Their fleets broken, their pride shattered, yet their voices burned with rage. "How?" one officer demanded. "Our weapons failed, our shields failed. Even space itself bent to their will." The general's eyes narrowed. "Then we find their weakness. Every monster has one." But his words were hollow. His crew knew it. And still they clung to them because they had nothing else. Among the defenders, one captain could not rest. She stared at the stars where the warship had gone. "Why leave us alive?" she whispered to herself. "What game are they playing?" Her crew tried to comfort her. "Perhaps they spared us because we are not enemies." But she shook her head. "No, we were not spared, we were chosen." The thought made her tremble, because she did not know if chosen meant blessing or curse. Then came the unexpected twist. In the outer rim of the galaxy, a small colony world reported strange lights in the sky. Miners saw a shadow bigger than their moon moving across the stars. "It is back," one cried. "The human ship has returned." But when scouts rushed to the system, they found nothing, only silence and the cold remains of burned asteroids. Still the rumor spread, "They are moving again." "They are watching." Panic grew. Fleets moved nervously, every empire pointing weapons at shadows, and in a dark chamber far away, the human captain stood before his crew. "They plot against us," he said, his voice calm but sharp. "They whisper, they plan, but fear has already broken them. Their empires will tear themselves apart trying to stop us." One officer asked, "And what do we do?" The captain's eyes narrowed. "We wait, we let fear grow, and when the time is right, we strike again." The galaxy shook with every rumor, every whisper, every shadow, but no one truly knew when the warship would appear again. And that uncertainty was worse than any battle, because fear of the unknown is the sharpest weapon of all. The galaxy began to split under the weight of fear. Whispers of the human warship spread across every world. Merchants carried stories through trade routes, soldiers repeated rumors in the barracks, and rulers argued behind closed doors. No one trusted anyone anymore. Some empires wanted to unite against the humans, others wanted to bow before them, and some wanted to use the chaos for their own gain. In one council chamber, voices clashed like weapons. "We must prepare armies," one leader shouted. "We cannot sit and wait for them to return." Another slammed his hand down. "Armies are useless. Did you not see what one ship did? Entire fleets erased without a single shot. Do you think more soldiers will matter?" Silence filled the room until a third voice whispered, "Then we must find them first. We must learn their secrets, even if it means betraying our own." Across the galaxy, fleets moved nervously. Allies pointed weapons at allies. Commanders did not sleep. "If humans come here, what side will you stand on?" One general asked his rival. The rival gave no answer, only a cold stare, because trust was gone, even between supposed friends, and fear made every empire dangerous. Some worlds declared independence, shouting that their leaders had failed to protect them. Riots broke out, statues fell, and still the rumor of the warship grew. On a small mining world far from the center, workers spoke in hushed tones. "I heard they can erase planets with a thought," one said. "No, they only want to scare us," another argued. "If they wanted us dead, we would already be gone." Then a young miner asked the question no one wanted to hear. "But what if scaring us is only the beginning?" Their voices fell silent, eyes turned to the stars, and fear settled deeper in their bones. In the ruins of the last battlefield, scavengers still searched, and crew found strange fragments that hummed with power. Their captain whispered, "Human tech." His crew panicked. "Leave it, it is cursed." We should not touch it, but greed burned in his eyes. "We sell this, we become rich. Do you not see this is more than scrap? This is history." He did not know that the moment he touched it, signals spread across the void, unseen by alien eyes, but felt by human watchers. In a hidden Empire lab deep underground, scientists worked desperately. "We must create something, anything that can face them," their leader demanded. "If we cannot, our people are doomed," one scientist whispered. "But everything we test fails. Their energy destroys our systems, our shields break. Nothing holds." Another raised her head slowly. "Then maybe we should not fight them. Maybe we should try to speak to them," the leader snarled. "Speak to monsters. No, monsters only understand fear, and so we must become monsters ourselves." But his words were hollow. Even he did not believe them. Meanwhile, in the enemy fleet that once tried to crush the defenders, the High Commander sat alone in his dark chamber, his pride shattered, his voice shaking. "I saw death itself, and it looked at me like I was nothing." One of his officers entered carefully. The soldiers whisper, "They ask if you will lead them again." The commander laughed bitterly. "Lead them where? Into the mouth of that shadow. Into a storm no weapon can touch. No, let them whisper. Let them remember that even we were powerless." His words spread through the fleet, and fear turned into anger. Some soldiers swore to fight, others to flee. But none believed they would win. Among the defenders saved by the human warship, the arguments grew hotter. One counselor shouted, "We must see them as allies. They saved us when no one else would." Another fired back, "They saved us only to make us watch. We are pawns in their game. Nothing more." The chamber filled with voices until the commander of their fleet stood and shouted over them all. "Silence, whether they are saviors or rulers. One truth remains, the galaxy will never be the same, and we must decide if we will bend or break." His words chilled the room, for everyone knew he was right. The turning point came when a distant listening post picked up a signal. A faint human voice whispering through static, "We see you." The soldiers froze. The captain stared at the console. "Is it real?" he asked. The technician nodded slowly. "Yes, it is not our frequency. It is them." Panic spread like fire. Reports flooded across the galaxy. "They are watching us. They are everywhere." Ships moved into formation. Empires declared emergency states. The entire galaxy held its breath. But the warship did not appear. Only silence remained. In deep space, far beyond their reach, the human captain stood before his crew. "They tear themselves apart," he said calmly. "Their fear is greater than any weapon. Their unity is gone. Soon they will destroy each other without us firing a shot," one officer asked quietly. "And if they do not?" The captain's eyes narrowed. "Then we remind them again." The galaxy bled from within. Trust was broken. Fear ruled. And yet somewhere in the dark, the shadow of humanity waited. Silent, patient, unstoppable, and every world wondered the same question. Not if the warship would return, but when. The galaxy was breaking under its own fear. Empires that once stood tall were now shadows of themselves. Fleets patrolled empty skies, not to fight humans, but to watch for them. Rulers shouted in their halls, but their voices shook. Every whisper carried the same words: "The warship will return." And no one knew when. In one great council chamber, the leaders of many worlds gathered. Their faces pale, their voices sharp. "We cannot live like this," one leader cried. "Fear eats us, it divides us, we must act," another stood. "Act against who? Against them? Do you not remember what they did with a single wave of light? They erased fleets, they erased pride. We cannot fight that." Silence spread across the chamber until one voice, quiet but steady, said, "Then maybe we must kneel." His words brought chaos. Shouts filled the room. Some screamed for war, others for surrender, and still the stars outside burned cold on a small outpost near the edge of the galaxy. Soldiers stared at their screens when the alarms lit red. "Contact unknown," one shouted. Their commander rushed in. "Show me." The screen glowed with a shape growing larger, heavy and slow. "No! It cannot be," a soldier whispered, his hands trembling. "It is them," the commander's voice broke. "Sound the alert, send the message. Humanity has returned." Panic spread like wildfire. Fleets scrambled. Messages screamed across space, every world holding its breath. But when the shadow came into focus, it was only wreckage, twisted metal shaped by chance to look like a ship. The soldiers collapsed in relief, but the message had already gone out. And across the galaxy, fear rose again, in the ruins of another battle. Scavenger crews found more fragments with glowing marks. One touched it and his ship's systems died instantly. "Do not touch again," his captain shouted. "Leave it," but the crew whispered. "It is a warning." "They leave pieces to remind us." The captain's face turned pale. "Or they leave pieces to watch us," and the thought chilled everyone. Meanwhile, in the heart of the defeated attacker's empire, the High Council screamed at each other. "We must strike now," one general demanded. "Build new weapons, unite the galaxy, or we will all kneel," another shouted back. "You speak of unity when your fleets are in ashes. What strength do you have left?" Their leader slammed his claw down. "We will find the human world. We will burn it. We will erase them before they erase us." His voice burned with anger. But fear sat heavy in his eyes. Outside, the chamber soldiers whispered. They planned for war, but war against what? Against gods? Among the defenders who had been spared, debates grew bitter. Some called the humans saviors. Others called them monsters. One young pilot asked her captain, "Why do they not speak to us? Why do they only watch?" The captain answered, "Because they do not see us as equals, only as pieces on a board." The pilot's voice shook. "Then what will they do next?" The captain's silence was colder than words. The turning point came on a quiet moon, far from the center of power, where the skies burned suddenly without warning. Miners fled their homes as beams of light tore across the night. But nothing was destroyed. Only the sky was carved with symbols that glowed like fire. Words none could read. The miners trembled, one whispered. "They write in the stars," another cried. "They are telling us something." News spread faster than fire, and soon every empire saw the images. Priests called them prophecy, rulers called them threats. But everyone knew one thing: the humans were not gone. They were reminding the galaxy who ruled. Panic reached its height. Empires collapsed into riots. Soldiers turned on their leaders. Traders fled to the edge of the universe. And still the warship did not appear. The fear of waiting was worse than the battle itself. In the deepest shadows of space, the human captain stood before his crew. "They fight among themselves," he said calmly. "They destroy each other with fear. And still they wonder what we will do," one officer asked. "Should we strike now? Should we end them?" The captain shook his head slowly. "No, let them see their own weakness. Let them fall apart when they are broken enough. They will beg for order, and we will give it. Back on the Defender homeworld," a child asked his mother, "will the humans come here?" She held him close, her voice trembling. "I do not know, but if they do, we can only pray they show mercy." In another empire, a soldier whispered to his friend, "If they wanted mercy, they would have spoken, but silence is worse. Silence is death waiting." Across the stars, the same fear lived in every heart. Then came the final twist in the darkness of space, unseen by all. The human warship moved again, its engines silent, its shadow endless. No one saw it, no one knew, but it was there, drifting closer to the heart of the galaxy, its captain's voice low. "The time is near." His crew waited in silence, and in that silence the fate of every world hung heavy. The galaxy no longer asked if the humans would return. They only asked when, and when that day came, none doubted it would be the end of everything they thought they knew.